See, once you've got grip by it, it's very difficult to break out of it. You know, your blood sugar's up and down all the time. You need lots of sugar, and it causes it to go up, but only temporarily. Then it slumps, so you have to have more sugar, and then more sugar. And this goes on through the day until eventually your body can't keep your blood sugar levels up anymore. It just dies. And at the end of the afternoon, you know, it's a classic time. I was writing about this 30 years ago, Jan, but you know, people who just go at the end of the afternoon, you know, about 4:30,
right.
What they've hit is hyperglycemia. In fact, I used to do medical emergency work, you know, go out. Those are the days when you went out in the car with a doctor's bag and you saw people on the side of the street, never mind at home. And time again I would get calls to somebody who'd collapsed about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I knew before I went that it was a hyperglycemia attack. Obviously you had to make sure they were okay.
Sure.
But it was never serious. It was always a case of a drink of sweetened tea would get them round, and then give them a bit of quick advice about avoiding sugar and making sure not to hit this trough, this low sugar trough. I'll tell you another way you can recognize it too. You know, happy hour, people at the end of a working day, they just worn and flustered, and they know that if they go and have a gin and tonic or something like that, they feel great within half an hour. It's not because they're just addicted to alcohol, it's because it restores blood sugar levels very quickly. So that's often the beginning of the slippery slope to alcoholism, you know, is poor sugar management. You find that a quick drink of alcohol will get you back to that sugar level quickly, and it's a dangerous solution, of course. It is a slippery slope, as you know, and a person can get hooked on it. So, a good diet with lots of fresh food, the Mediterranean type diet with avoiding carbohydrates, sweetened and sugary, and especially refined carbohydrate. That's the way to go, okay? But part of the plan of, if you're feeling tired, say, and stressed, then popping a chocolate is a better way to do it than to have a cup of sweetened coffee and a cookie or something like that. That's the disastrous solution.
Right.
Because an hour later or 90 minutes later, your body's crying out again, saying, hey, I want some more. So the way to break the vicious circle before it happens is to have a doctor's chocolate.
Right. Over a period of time of having something continuous like this, if you were congruent about 2 chocolates a day, the long-term results would hopefully get them away from a bad habit of needing that drink at 5 o'clock or eating that cookie midday or whatever. Would that over time?
Over time, quite a short time. You know, within 2 or 3 weeks, you can radically change your eating habits in that way and avoid these sugar crises.
Okay, and the sugar crisis is what makes our children rampage and makes us fall into our paperwork at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's right, and I mean the kids can be absolute little monsters if they've gone low blood sugar and if they're screaming for their soda. That's probably why their body's screaming. You know, I teach people, I say, if you've got low blood sugar, there's no point in trying to, when somebody says I could kill for a bar of chocolate, I know they would, because their brain is saying, the brain needs glucose like it needs oxygen. So if your blood sugar has dropped to a certain point, your body is going to make you fight for the sugar. And people literally do get that feeling. Pull over the car, stop the car, I've got to go into the candy store and have a candy right now. And I'm sure a lot of people have been there, and that's the reason for it, is low blood sugar. Don't let it happen.
Don't let it happen,
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get that far.
So
what I say is, this is what I teach people, is eat the good thing first, before you get the problem and eat the bad thing.
It's preventative maintenance, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at it.
Good word, yeah.
And you really are an advocate of just diet. I mean, it's just, and we talked earlier about, it's not specific relevant to this conversation, but how diet really makes a difference for people, young children, everybody, because it chemically gets them back in balance.
That's
so
right.
They can function.
Yeah.
Whatever normal is. I mean,
yeah, show me somebody normal.
Yeah, we don't. How do we measure that?
But we know that. I mean, just because something is common, it doesn't make it normal, and it certainly doesn't make it good. Okay, so the fact that you see things happening everywhere doesn't mean it's okay. They can be changed. They can be fixed. It can be improved.